Who's got it better than us?
Nobody!
Robert is being chased, thrown on the run, and it is caught. Touchdown, Keenan Allen. What a great...
My goal is not to break you. My goal is to make you harder to break.
Comes back, number 6.
Huge sack by Joey Bosa.
Touchdown! 90-yard touchdown!
Off at the 8-yard line by Derwin James. Sets his speed, takes a shot downfield, has Knighton. Caught! Touchdown! Chargers!
Boys, grab your lunch boxes and go attack this day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Yes. Enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And I'm definitely feeling that this morning. Welcome all to TDU. A special episode today, actually, because yes, this is not Andy speaking. Unfortunately, he has been waylaid by his annual salami making day with his wife's family. So you've got the dulcet tones of Jack as your host for today. As always, I'm joined by Alistair. But what we were just talking pre-show, it's an honor to have this person on our show today. It was awesome, the chat prior to the show. Super excited. We have Adam, the Wool Dog, Woolley from Charger Chat. What's going on, man?
Oh my God. I am so excited to be here. I love this show, and I get to step in on Salami Day of all days. Let's freaking go.
Is it Salami Day, Jack? Is it Sausage Day? I don't really know what Andy's up to, but we'll take him at face value. We're missing him this week, but we've got a guy who I'm reliably informed, Bulldog, is actually some kind of professional voice artist, and we fancy ourselves as voice artists here. We're going to have to bow down to the expert, and you're going to have to show us up over the course of this show.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm all for a game of knifey spoony, but voicey, I think that might be something. That's a new one for me.
Oh, voicey, very good. Awesome to have you with us. As I said, a huge honor. Your guys' show has been around for a long time now. And Alistair, I sort of jumped in when you were saying the fan following that you have and the positivity that you have is so great, especially from our perspective. We try and stay as positive as possible. So yeah, just awesome to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's what the Charger Chat is all about. And when we started it, it was the part of the whole reason why we started it was because we heard so many other radio shows and podcasts of people that wanted to be critical of the Chargers, and understandably so. But there were so many good things that they would just gloss over because they were just so focused on the things that were negative. And it was just like, we got to be more positive. We got to shine lights on things that are worth shining lights on and be the shamelessly positive podcast. And that's what we claim to be. And there have been times it's been tested. Don't get me wrong. There's been some playoff games that it's been tested, but we certainly strive to do that consistently and just have a good time, because that's, for God's sakes, why are we doing this if we're not going to have a good time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll add, Jack, TDU crew, these guys, they wouldn't say this, but they kind of gave us our first real shot. I was a guest and did a segment with Kev Duggan on their show. I think just after we'd done our first episode, Jack, I was still recording from my mother-in-law's study, had no kind of idea what I was doing. And Kev was so gracious to get me on for about 20 minutes. You put me up on your show. It kind of started part of our following. So we're very happy. It's taken us years to return the favor, but we finally got there. And maybe we can get Kev another time too.
Please. I mean, right now, I'm like, just book me every month. I'll be here. I'll come hang with you guys, whatever you want to do, even if it's just for 5 minutes. I'm all about it right now. I'm so excited.
I think Bulldog, what you were saying before, I think that's just a really good philosophy for life in today's world as well. So, well, let's get into it. So we're going to have a couple of things we've got to do today. We've got the vaunted Aussie quiz at the end of our show, so hang around for that. We'll have a quick chat with Bulldog about, speaking of positivity, perhaps the change or the things that you've seen with the Harbour experience over the last sort of year and a bit. Then we're going to jump into two separate segments. One of them is called the Mount Rushmore of underrated players. We talk a lot about those elite players a lot, and they get a lot of coverage in the media. So we thought we might shift the focus a little bit to look at some underrated and perhaps underappreciated players. Then we'll switch into a segment called sort of TDU Lightning Round, where we've got some phrases. For example, the most underrated burger condiment is... Alistair, you'd throw something in there. So that should be a bit
Pickles.
of fun. Pickles. I don't think they're underrated. See, I would say that they are like
Properly
the best
rated.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, properly rated. So we'll have a bit of fun. We'll have a bit of chats. But Wooldog, let's start us off.
Yes.
What has it been like from your guys' perspective as a pod and as fans of the team to sort of, well, for us anyway, for the first time to have a relatively experienced head coach in the building, and just the culture seems kind of different to anything that we can kind of experience before. Hard for us to actually know because we're, a world away. But what are some things that you've seen over the last sort of 18 months that are kind of interesting with Harbaugh?
Well, first of all, have you guys gone to a home game yet at SoFi?
Alistair has.
So I was in the States
Okay.
for my honeymoon, and
Awesome.
it was the last season of Brandon Staley, so 2022. I was there
Okay.
for the Rams-Chargers New Year's Day game
Got
at
it.
SoFi
Okay, cool.
Stadium.
Awesome. So
think it was
you've
Baker
at least had
Mayfield.
an opportunity to experience it. Yes.
Yeah. Went down
Good.
to Thunder Alley, saw what it was like. People were just handing me tequila shots and passing, tacos to my wife. It was a
best.
super, super friendly environment. Yeah, it was great.
Well, and then to jump back on the Jim Harbaugh part, it's been fascinating as somebody that has been, a fan since, the Phillip Rivers era, and to see, the coaching staff that we've gone and progressed through. When it comes time to get a new head coach from previous regimes, everybody's got their pick. I want this guy, this guy, this guy, this tenured coach. And I would say, most of the time as a fan of the team, you don't get what you want. What the fans' vision and the front office's vision don't necessarily line up. When Jim Harbaugh became the name on the table, the one that was going to be the probably most sought after head coach, obviously any team that was searching for a head coach said, I want Jim Harbaugh. Because you look at his resume of teams that he's gone to, teams that he has made better. And as a Charger fan, you just kind of programmed yourself to be like, boy, it'd be great to get Jim Harbaugh, but I don't know, we'll probably get some other guy. And to land Jim Harbaugh was probably, it had to be more celebratory than getting Justin Herbert. Because the first year you get Justin Herbert, people didn't even really know what to expect. And in fact, there were some people who were probably upset that we picked Justin Herbert at the time. So to get the head coach that you want, for him to come in, immediately change the culture of this team, to communicate that not just to the team, but to the fans. For the fans to be able to have a look into this team and to see what Jim Harbaugh has done, the culture that he's set in motion, the staff that he has acquired, the staff of people that have done it before, the staff of people that want to be here, and what they bring to the table. It's not just like, let me pull a favor. I'm sure he's probably got a ton of people that would love to come work for him at the Chargers, but he's picked an elite staff to come and help out with that. And to just sit back and watch all of this happen, it's almost a dream come true. Because what do we not have? A Super Bowl. We don't have that. And who can get us there? Boy, it feels like Jim Harbaugh. So
Absolutely.
it's been awesome to just sit back and watch this whole thing unfold, and really just inspirational to think of what the future could bring for this team.
And have you noticed a difference? I mean, tell our listeners a bit about the way you guys, do you attend many games as a group? Are you going to every Chargers home game? And are you seeing a difference in terms of popularity and fan attendance, that kind of thing, since Harbaugh took over?
It's certainly, absolutely. Since Harbaugh took over, it has absolutely gone up. I mean, we try to go to, first of all, we try to go to as many games as we can a year. When it first started off, our first attempt to go to a game as a podcast, as the Charger Chat podcast, was right at the end of COVID. And so we were able to squeeze in to go to the Kansas City away game, which was great because we weren't in the playoffs. It was Justin Herbert's rookie year. We got to see Justin Herbert just break the records that he was trying to break. I think the only one he didn't break was the completions, but that was fine. He broke just about every other rookie quarterback record. And so to go from that and then progress through the Staley era, to finish the Anthony Lynn era, to progress through the Staley era, and to now be in the Jim Harbaugh era, it is a progressive incline to go up, and you feel it whenever you arrive at the stadium. I mean, and to be fair, it's a shared stadium. You've got another team that also occupies that stadium, so there's always going to be who the fight for LA is what's always gets thrown around between fans between the Rams and the Chargers. And so I feel like with the implementation of Harbaugh and everything that he's brought to the table and how he's already gotten this team to an 11-6 record, playoffs first year, I think it's only going to go up from here.
It's fascinating, isn't it? You talk about the progression from Anthony Lynn through to Brandon Staley to Harbaugh. I was just reflecting as you were talking, and this is possibly the first time that I can remember, and, before Lynn, it's sort of McCoy era, that we have a coach that doesn't need to prove himself as a head coach.
Yeah.
And that's a fascinating kind of, I sort of relate it to, we've all been to school and you have those one or two teachers, and obviously I'm a teachable dog, so a lot of my analogies tend to be about education, but, that are kind of just so confident in themselves, but they're a little bit goofy as well. They're a little bit kind of funky in the way that they do things, but everyone seems to respect them. And the product that they get out of the students or the environment they create is just really wholesome. And that's not trying to put any shade on Staley or Lynn, but first-time head coaches, you kind of don't know how you're going to be and what you're going to do, who your personality is. But it's fascinating that even something like that can, that personality shift that's not really front-facing, right? It's, the fans, don't interact with Harbaugh, but, perhaps in conversation, but every time he pops up on social media, I just look at the comments on it and it's just like, believe. He's so cool. He's so great. It must be so cool to feel that as well.
Well, he's a name that demands respect because of what he's accomplished. And especially after, getting Michigan to a championship and then to be like, all right, I'm coming back to the NFL. Like, that is just something to be admired. And I think that is the toughest thing for first-time head coaches, is to have a team that respects them in that same way. To have somebody come in, it's like, it's the pedigree of Harbaugh now, because you've got Jim and John, and those are two guys that have accomplished so much. And so now for Jim to come in, it's an immediate, you got to put respect on the name, the guy that, and, former Charger Jim Harbaugh, you got to say as well. So,
and he'll lift weights next to you in the training room, and he'll
lift
wear
weights,
he'll wear
jump in the spot.
khakis.
Yeah.
And to Jack's point, he's authentic and true to himself.
Exactly.
And I love that you nailed that, Jack. He does not feel the pressure of doing the thing for the first time. He's not having to make active choices about how much do I control this element of the organization. He has an idea of how things run when a smooth ship is sailing, and it's been a seamless transition. The one thing we always notice is how empowered all of the position group coaches seem to be, perhaps compared to previous eras of this team. They get opportunities at the mic to talk to journalists. It doesn't seem like Harbaugh's hanging over and watching them. If you look at the mic'd up and practices, he's just in the back having conversations with like DJ Uwayangalale about his drop back and talking with the fourth string quarterback,
Right.
He's just letting coaches do what they do, and it's breeding this full confidence within the organization and the fan base. And it's just, frankly, refreshing to see. After 7 years you've been doing your show, Bulldog, it feels like maybe we're not too far away from that Super Bowl you were referring to.
I don't think there was as much white in my beard when I started. I think it has been progressing further and further. I think I blame Staley for a lot of it. I think if you started Brandon Staley, there was just a hint of white, but
yeah. You're like the portrait of Dorian Gray, right? You're a positive podcast, but every time you don't say the negative thing on your mind, the beard just, white hair is added. Yeah.
I'll be Santa. pretty
I
soon.
think poor Brandon Staley probably copped it from the other way. You know, he probably lost the stuff on top. I would
Exactly.
say.
Yes.
Yeah. So something's always got to give. All right.
That's right.
Let's get into this Mount Rushmore. So listeners, what we did is we just have prepared, as I said in the introduction, that underrated charges, our top 4. Alistair, have you ever been to Mount Rushmore? I never have.
Never been.
In my life. No, that's one of the things I'd love to. Wooldog, have you ever been to Mount Rushmore?
Nope, just seen pictures, so
Yeah,
we're all in the
it
same
seems-
boat on this one.
Yeah. So I guess the criteria were not necessarily stars, not necessarily pro bowlers, not household names. Chances are they're going to be household names because most people who listen to this podcast are going to be Charger fans and they know anyway. But we're like the criteria is like grinders, glue guys, and perhaps some future breakouts. So, Wooldog, did you want to lead us off, or very happy to defer to Alistair, or did you want to go with your first person on the underrated Chargers Mount Rushmore 2025?
All right. Well, there is a part of me that says I want to go first so I can at least set the tone and not go like, oh, you took my guy. But at the same time, I want to see what the vibe is. So let me defer to you guys here first and set the tone, set the pace.
All right. Go, Al.
All right.
All yours.
I'm happy to start with one that I'll be interested if either of you even thought to include him. But this person never is mentioned online, on our show. It's actually a former 7th round pick from the 2022 season out of Ole Miss, cornerback Dean Leonard.
Okay.
I want to shout out Dean Leonard. He is, to me, the quintessential, like optimal 7th round pick. He's a guy who has grinded out a permanent, excellent role on special teams. I reckon he'd be one of Ficken's favourite guys. If you look at how he's graded from a PFF perspective, 2023, he had a 90.1 special teams grade, and his other 2 seasons, he's over 75. So just a 4-core special teamer. And I reckon any time he's been called into game action to take the field, he's played at an average NFL starting cornerback level, which is like not what you expect from a 7th round guy who's your 5th or 6th string cornerback. He came on to the field during wildcard round against the Texans, had an interception. Last year, when he took the field, he saw 9 targets, only allowed 5 catches, 2 PBUs. So I just want to start. I don't even know if he's going to make the roster, right? Because the team's drafted Triquez Bridges. I've heard them pumping up Ja'Seer Taylor again. I thought he was on the outer, but apparently he played through a partially broken leg after last year hurting it against the Raiders. He broke a bone in his leg and continued to play. So Harbaugh has been mentioned him twice in recent press conferences. So if Dean Leonard does not make this roster, this will be the last you ever hear from him, listeners. And I just wanted to say he is underrated. So he's on my underrated Mount Rushmore, Bulldog.
That's awesome. He didn't. So when I came up with my list, he was certainly a name that I was like, boy, he doesn't get a lot of appreciation, but he wasn't one of my picks. But I'm glad that you said it, so that way you could at least give him his dues. All right. So for me, the number one, and I'm only saying this because I don't want you guys to steal it from me, but the number one for me is Deion Henley. To go for Henley to be drafted and in the 3rd round and start 0 games in his rookie season, and then to go to last season starting all 17 games, speaks wonders to what he brings to the table and how he was so completely underutilized in his rookie season. Racked up 92 solo tackles this last season, 7 tackles for a loss, 1 sack. You hear that and you go, why has this guy just been sitting in the drawer? Why haven't we busted him out? And to also take a leadership position by wearing the green dot on the defense, letting everybody know, here's the play, here's what we're doing. To go from basically 0 to 60, like to go and just immediately, once Harbaugh comes in to show, hey, man, I'm here to play. I can lead. Tell me what you want to do. I'm going to do it. I think that speaks wonders to Mr. Henley. And how he's not a household name yet, I mean, he obviously is for Charger fans that are listening, but I think he is going to bust out yet again this year. It's going to be tough. That's a crowded linebacker room, especially now not necessarily knowing what Junior Colson's going to bring to the table. This will be exciting to see what that happens, because they were initially touting him to be the green dot, to come out and be the one calling the plays. And so once he got hurt, it was like, all right, Deion Henley, here's your shot. And he took that and ran with it. So I'd be curious to see what happens with Junior Colson, but I think this is also going to be a year that Deion Henley just blasts off and has a stellar season.
Well, let's hope that, Junior Colson has the same second season as Deion Henley does, Now we might start be seeing a little bit of a linebacker room, a bit of development, that redshirt season and coming on. I mean, I said on the last week's pod, listening to Deion Henley in the press conference got me jacked up. Like listening to his competitiveness and how he was talking about going against Lad McConkey, like those two are having heads-to-heads in training camp, like wanting to get better. Man, I think you're right. There's that glue. We look at those numbers, but I think Wooldog, it's such a good pick because he's going to be that competitive glue that I kind of feel has tried to be sort of inserted with players like Thomas Davis and Kendricks, these guys that are come in as good linebackers, competitive guys, but they never really fit. This guy's born in LA, he's got an incredible family background as well.
Energy giver.
Energy, just huge. All right. Awesome. None of mine have been taken so far, so I'm very happy. This is a very, very left field pick from me to go first, but the one thing that I looked for was what was the player on the Chargers roster that improved massively from year to year, and I had to go with Tucker Fisk. I'm not sure if any of you had Tucker Fisk on there, but looking at his first year in Atlanta and then essentially being a guy on the street to come in and play a role, his pass blocking grade per PFF showed around 22 point improvement from 54 to 76. So that is a giant jump in terms of PFF grading, right? His pass blocking win rate went from 59 to 69%. He's an inline tight end, but he came in and I thought, jumping out on tape, when he was on the field, he rarely lost and did his job quite well. And that, I would say, is one of the hardest things to do, especially in a Greg Roman running scheme. When he was asked to catch the ball, he didn't have any drops or fumbles. So I think Tucker Fisk is one of those guys that just rounds out that tight end room. And you know what? You just need those guys at tight end 3 or tight end 4 to come in, do their job. Don't do anything flashy, but just do their job. So Tucker Fisk, you are number 1 on my underrated Mount Rushmore Chargers.
I like it, Jack. Him and Matlock kind of became the Bash Brothers, almost throwing back to like some kind of wrestling tag team where they're kind of like the Bushwhackers or something for an Australian pod.
Love the Bushwhackers.
but yeah, I agree. Executing wham blocks, kick outs. He's one of those guys who scraps for that last place on the roster. I love it. All right, I'm going to go back to the linebacker room, Bulldog, and I'm going to sing the praises of Denzel Perryman as an underrated Charger. And I'm not going to refer to PFF grades because if you look at that, they didn't actually think he had that good a season last year. But as a person who, like, for my job on the pod, I'll watch the All-22 after every game and pick out plays I like and don't like. I might not be watching Perryman every single snap. I'm not trying to grade him, but I'm trying to grade the entire team on a play. And boy, does Perryman stand out at least 3 or 4 snaps per game where he just sticks his face in the fan and goes whack with a run stop, and the run plays dead behind the line of scrimmage. And you see the teammates around him all walk with their shoulders back, standing confidently, jumping around. He gets the whole team G'd up and excited. So I'm less worried about the kind of grading on Perryman and more like we've all been on a sporting team before where you've just got that one guy who's a sicko and gives you total confidence that if you end up in a fight, he's going to have your back and he's going to pick you up. And I feel like that is Denzel Perryman. And if you do need any kind of numbers around it, when he went out of the team last year in week 11 with a groin injury, the Chargers run defense had a couple of their worst performances just as he left the team. The Ravens ran for over 200 yards against them in week 12. The Bucks ran for over 220 yards on them in week 15. And then in that wildcard game against the Texans, Perryman tries to play, clearly still injured. He has 4 excellent snaps, comes out of the team, can't go back on the field, and the Texans run for over 168 yards. So I think he's that glue for the run defense this year, and I wanted to shout him out. He makes my Mount Rushmore.
I love that. I mean, I was just going to say, because when Jack brought him up, I was going to say, like, brought up Perryman, it was like, that I think is what has been so helpful for Deion, is to have a veteran like Denzel Perryman, a guy who is not only a previous Charger that left and came back, but just somebody that has that kind of mentality, that veteran status. And boy, yeah, he hits hard. And then, I mean, it's, you almost don't want to see it because you're like, you're going to get yourself hurt. But
Yeah.
you do love to see it because it's certainly, like you said, it gets the whole team riled up. And it's like, that's fantastic. I love that. I'm glad you said Denzel Perryman. All right. For my second guy, I love this guy. And I'm so glad that we have him, and I'm hoping that his progress continues into this next season. My second pick is Darius Davis.
Oh.
Did I take it?
Yeah, you got
Got
it.
it.
You got it. That's okay.
Oh, it's our first overlap. Hey, it took till the 5th pick. That's for
It
a
did.
5th, 4th pick. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I love it. So for me, Darius Davis, 7th in kick return yard average this last season. Guy was a 4th round pick. Obviously, in that first rookie season, we saw him run back one for a tutty. We wanted to see him do it again this last season. Didn't happen, but that's all right. Guy still had 0 drops, which you never want to see any muffed punts or kickoff returns or anything like that. And so Darius Davis killing it there. And obviously, the biggest thing you got to shout out Darius Davis for is to take the hit in that Denver game to set up the free kick for Dicker the kicker. The kick heard round the world that everybody was like, what is he doing? Why is he doing it? How is he doing it? If not for Darius Davis,
Good call.
having that wide leg stance to get grazed just enough to fall down and have it be an interference, and now to set up Dicker to kick off or to have that free kick. I mean, how could you not love Darius Davis for that?
You took the words right out of my mouth, and it was less about I think for me, the stats that I do think it was just nice for a long time in Chargers history is to not have someone like Travis Benjamin back there, or someone you're just going, is this guy actually going to catch it? And when he catches it, is he actually going to run forward or is he actually going to run backwards?
Exactly. Yes.
It's just going, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh man, because I just remember some of those times of just, we're forced the punt and it's a punt, but then all of a sudden it's, they get the ball on their 10 and you're like, oh,
Special teams has been rough. Prior to Ryan Ficken, special teams has been rough. And so once Ryan Ficken came in, his culture changed that group as well. And obviously for the better. And you have people like Darius Davis. So even if he's 7th in kick return yards, that's fantastic to have a guy's 7th in kick return yard average. It doesn't always have to be the best. Sometimes my buddy Kyle, the Coach Duggan on the podcast says, you don't always want a bunch of, A players and then C's and D's. You want a bunch of B's. Those are the guys that are going to be consistent and get you to the playoffs and get you to the Super Bowl. And Darius Davis, I think, fits that perfectly.
So Jack, if he's your pick here too, if he's your second Mount Rushmore guy, okay, I was going to ask you, do you see a world where we start to see more Darius Davis on offense? Because maybe through his first year or so, that's an area where he's been either underutilized or hasn't quite made an impact. Do you see that within his range of outcomes?
I still want to do my pick because I'm worried that my pick will go. So let's just say I've only got 2 left to go. But on your question, I was gonna point out that I don't know where his spot is in the wide receiver room. Actually, there's a lot of competition given who we drafted in sort of KLS and Harris there as well. However, is there a spot for him to go on a, full wide receiver set, just trips down the field, or just like, post, just go, just all go. And because with that speed combined with some of the other speed that we have, he's still a weapon that I think is so dangerous. And I'd hate for his spot to be looked over perhaps by people. I still think he's an NFL level punt returner, and I still think he has some uses in that wide receiver room. All right. So for me and Wooldog,
I tried to steal your turn, but you knew what I was doing.
I know.
You know what I'm all about.
I set these segments up sometimes, and I'm known for going a little bit left of center and perhaps breaking the rules a little bit.
Okay.
So I am going to break the rules a little bit.
That's fine.
And you
Perhaps
can,
breaking the rules, clearly breaking the rules, flagrantly breaking the rules.
I need to flag this to come out into the field, but I'm going to take the most underrated position on my Mount Rushmore, and it's a position group, and I think it's the free safety. Now you can put Elijah Molden or you can put Alohi Gilman in there. Derwin James, rightly so, gets a lot of airtime, and he chats. He's one of the core leaders of this group. He's an animal. He's fierce. But realistically, we want him playing up around the line of scrimmage in the box. We don't want him necessarily deep in that backfield, given how aggressive and how incredible he is in pass rush, in covering the tight end and coverage close to the line. So I think that free safety position is so important to the outcome of this team and it's massively underrated. Molden did a great job, and very much like Perryman, when Perryman was out, we really saw the impact of losing both Gilman and Molden. Jefferson did a great job, and a couple of other guys stepped in to do a good job. But that free safety position is so important and underrated for the Chargers this upcoming season. I hope that we can get some consistent play, and when I mean, I think it is consistent, but let's just make sure that those injuries are kind of curtailed a bit. So there's my second Mount Rushmore underrated.
I usually don't like when you break the rules, but I liked that because it was worth throwing a blanket over that whole group, and I totally agree. They're critical to the success of the team.
Yeah, I was worried that you were going to be like, it's Jim Harbaugh, and I was going to be like, wait a minute.
Yeah. You never know what he's going to say. Like he's probably going to say Daniel Popper or Matt Money Smith or something totally left field. But anyway, all right. So 2 to go. I'm gonna go with a big guy, Jack. I know you love your big boys up on the line, but I'm not going offense. I'm going defense, and I'm going to go with Tahir Tart. And the reason why I'm going with the Pop-Tart is because without his level of play on the field, the team would not have felt comfortable allowing Poona Ford to walk to the Rams. I would have loved the team to find a way to keep Poona, but if you look at how Tahir Tart played last year, I understand why they thought, let's rotate some guys in and leave him as our flashpoint. Because if you look from an overall grading perspective, PFF thought he was the 11th ranked defensive tackle going around out of 101 players. Whenever you flash on the tape, you see him playing anywhere from 3 tech to the nose. Sometimes they'd move him out wide to the 5 tech. He's more of a penetrating guy than a person who stands up in 2 gaps to double teams, but he does it really well. And I thought he was a bit like Perryman in the same way that he gives you that juice because he has a run stop behind the line of scrimmage. And to keep him on the team for a 1-year deal at $4.5 million, I think I'm a looking and I'm a lacking. So Tahir Tart, you're my penultimate. You can be the Tony Jefferson. Sorry. Jefferson on the Mount Rushmore.
Take 2.
Take 2.
Love it. Yeah, no, Tahir Tart was one I was looking at too. But again, I'm so glad. Like I had my list, and then I whittled it down to 4. And the people that I didn't say, you guys are saying. So you guys are saying it way better than I ever could have. So that's perfect. I love the Tahir Tart pick. For me, my third guy is a guy that I think understandably never gets talked about. And he's been on the team for a while now. And that is the punter, J.K. Scott. J.K. Scott, if you didn't know, I'm about to enlighten you. Last year, he had the second highest average hang time kick at 4.65. Second highest. Previous years, 23, 22, technically 21, even though he only had one kick. In 2020, he had the top hang time average. This guy, it's a good thing there's a roof on SoFi, otherwise he probably would have kicked it through, because he is more about getting it up in the air, getting our special team down there to be able to hit, stop, whatever, whoever's trying to catch this ball in the sky. And it's fascinating to see and know that is his motive, is just to just launch this puppy straight up in the air. He's 4th on PFF for all of punters last year. He was 9th in yards, which is also pretty impressive. So, not everybody that kicks a ball straight up in the air is necessarily going to get the yardage. And J.K. Scott to be the top on the hang time and 9th in yards, I think is pretty dang impressive. And also 0 blocked punts for him this last year. So nobody's going to sing the praises of any punter, I think, ever, unless it's this show right now. So I think
we're Aussies. We love the punter talk.
You do.
We
right.
had Darren Bennett on
that's
our show.
Right.
Mate. We'll let you go for another 10 minutes.
I'm just saying, I mean, for a guy to...
We'll lose all our listeners, but go.
But I think for a punter to consistently, that's the thing, is consistently. This wasn't like, he had a stellar year last year. Consistently hits that highest average hang time, I think is really impressive. He's not like to say that he went back, lost a step by going to second highest as opposed to the number one. I think, whatever. I think that guy deserves a lot of praise on this special team, and give him his dues, for crying out loud.
Wooldog, you and I think very much alike. Not that he was on my list. However, he also plays a vital role to my last pick on the underrated Mount Rushmore. And
all right,
we've mentioned his names a couple of times. But I'm just going to name a couple of other people before this bloke.
Okay.
Josh Lambo, Youngwei Koo, Nick Novak, Travis Coons, Nick Rose, Caleb Sturgis, Michael Badgley, Chase McLaughlin, Tristan Vizcaino, Alistair, remember him? Dustin Hopkins, Taylor Bertolet, I can't remember how he played 2 games, can't remember. And obviously Cameron Dicker. Now, what this guy is doing, I know that he does get a bit of praise, but last year he's kicking from 40 yards plus is something outstanding. He's going between 40 and 49 yards. He was 11 of 12. And then from 50 plus yards, he's 9 of 11. And a lot of those kicks are in fairly big games and important positions, especially in the Harbaugh relatively conservative game style. There are a couple of kicks that you're going, geez, this is a 56-yarder here. Oh, wow. Should we just punt it? But trust in Dicker. Some of those names just give me a little bit of a shiver down my spine, especially when they're kicking from 15 yards out. You go, we're going to win the game here. Oh, no, we don't. So Cameron Dicker, please keep on going. Get your hips and make sure your hammies and your quads and your hip flexors are nice and healthy, because you make this team hum, sir. Thank you for your service.
Jack loves the dick. And Al also doesn't mind it. In fact, dare I say it, you took my final Mount Rushmore. I was trying to say Thomas Jefferson before, by the way, listeners. He's the George Washington. And do you know, I prepared the exact same bloody spiel as you did, Jack, with all the previous kickers. It's like we've got the exact same notes. So I don't have much to say other than I reckon he started getting a bit bored last year, Cam Dicker, and he started missing extra points. He missed 4 extra points. Yes. That's the one area where he could lift himself to definitely a top 3 kicker. Like the last 2 years, he's been the 4th most accurate kicker in the NFL. If you compare that to what we had, that's unbelievable. So you take it every day of the week. But I feel like he can get to that, dare I say it, Justin Tucker level where he is the best kicker in the NFL. And that's why the team just extended him on a 4-year deal. So hopefully, Jack, we don't see any of those names again, because through to the end of 2028, it is Cameron Dicker hoofing them from 55 plus.
Sorry to jump in, Bulldog, but before that, those extra points, I wonder how much of that is to do just with Cameron Dicker, because the way that teams can load up and find those weaknesses on when there's blocking and things like that to make them rush slightly and stuff like that. So I wonder that with this rejuvenated offensive line, we might see that drop this year. So who knows?
I think those are excellent points. I love this. Yes, I was getting a little triggered myself hearing some of those previous names, but I love that. I love that. I love that our Mount Rushmores have so many special teams players on there. And my last one is of no exception, but it's not just special teams. It's special teams, it's defense, and it's offense. And I'm talking about the redheaded stranger, Mr. Scott Matlock, who, if for nothing else, number one, 6th-round pick, to come in and be a 6th-round pick out of BSU, go Boise Broncos, for him to come in and to last year have 11 games that he started, but he played in all 17, to have 362 offensive snap counts, 137 defensive snap counts, and 231 special team snap counts. He doesn't come off the field. The guy is in everything. He's got his fingers in everything, and they love him for it. And, I mean, for the guy to do the 12th most offensive snaps, 22nd defensive snaps, and fifth most special team snaps, and to be just to smile and say, give me more. How could you not love that guy? I mean, like
he's Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter came out, Woolley.
Come on. I'm trying to say that. Nobody's listening to me. And I just think that, for him to do it and to never be in a position of being like, oh shit, they're putting Matlock back out there again. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? It's like, hey, Matlock is out there. If it's on offense, he might turn into something. And if it's defense or special teams, then he's going to probably blow somebody up. So I love that he is on this team, and I hope that he continues. And I mean, how could Harbaugh not love a guy that's just like, put me in? Doesn't matter where the ball is or who has it. Just put me in. I'll make something happen.
It must be so hard to play on all three phases. The amount of meetings you'd have to be over.
Oh,
the
God.
playbooks. It's just incredible, right? And I must admit, I shared offline in a chat with Alistair that I saw a picture of Scotty M the other day, and he was lining up, in a 3-point stance, and I was like, who is that guy? Because he's massive, and he looks. That's Scott Matlock.
Yeah.
His arm was rippling with triceps. He's actually looked like he's dropped a bit of that.
I was going to say, he doesn't look chunky anymore.
Weight.
Yeah.
No, he looks really kind of lithe. And I went, woo. So I think that's a great way to round it out. So for our listeners, I guess, and for listeners of you as well, Wooldog, out of the selection we've got, and I'll run through them in a second, what would your Mount Rushmore of underrated Chargers be? You can add some things if you'd like to, but where we got to is Dean Leonard, Diane Henley, Tucker Fisk, Denzel Perryman, Darius Davis, the safety position, Tier Tart, J.K. Scott, Cameron Dicker, and Scotty Too Hottie Matlock. Love to hear your responses. But yeah, if you could whittle it down, maybe for us, that would be wonderful.
Hey, now, Jack, quickly, that was a fantastic segment, but when you read out those names, in a way, it was also a fail segment, not only because of how many, but not a single offensive lineman in there for a Jim Harbaugh-led football team. We need to do some penance, because that's, I don't think Coach would approve.
Well, but would you? I mean, the whole point of it is underrated players. Is there a lineman that you would consider to be underrated to fit that qualification?
Geez, that's a good question.
Because obviously you got Rashawn Slater, Joe Walt. You sing their praises all the time. There's no question about that. I mean, we got Mekhi Becton, which obviously we're all stoked about.
It would maybe be a Solia or a Pipkins, and Solia's a guy they're singing his praises. Actually. So who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm happy with what we did, Bulldog.
Yeah.
I reckon we. We nailed the brief.
It sounded more like a Greek hall of busts as opposed to a Mount Rushmore, I think. A philosopher's. Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Yeah, something we need to go and visit.
The Hall of Busts.
Yeah.
Jerry
Yeah, there we
Tillery
go.
lives in that hall, doesn't he?
Oh,
The Hall of
whoa.
Busts. So, oops. Sorry, we've got to keep it positive, Bulldog. All right.
No, you're fine.
Let's go.
I'm dude. As soon as he hit Herbert, he could go straight to hell. I don't care.
Yeah, GTFO.
All right. Okay. Let's get into this lightning round now. Each of us have got 4 or 5. I've got quite a few. So let's just sort of go until we feel like we've run out a bit of steam. But the brief for this one, listeners, was a rapid fire Q&A between us three. And so they're going to be lines like sort of, Alistair, I'm going to give this to you so you can think about it firstly. But the line is something like, the most important new signing is blank. And we each have a very short amount of time to think about that. It's ideally the gut reaction or the gut pick first. And if something sticks out, we can chat about it. If not, we can move on. If some of them are a little bit comedic, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So, Alistair, I'll throw this to you. The most important new signing for the Chargers is...
Big boy Mekhi Becton, and the team needed that upgrade on the IOL. All right, Bulldog, I will throw to you, brother.
Okay.
We know Nick Cage is playing Madden. If there was a Jim Harbaugh biopic, who would play Jim Harbaugh?
My knee-jerk reaction is Jason Sudeikis because of the connection with Lasso. It's practically there. It writes itself. Just let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love that pick.
All right.
On you.
Do we just go around?
Yeah, take it wherever you want.
Yeah,
okay.
Wherever it goes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll send it to you then, Jack. The surprise player that is going to make the team is
Brendan Rice. Brendan Rice is going to make the team. Brendan Rice is going to make the team. I've heard he's had a big off-season, and you can't mess with that pedigree. So I'm going to go Brendan Rice as a bit of a gut reaction when I think about it. Okay, I'm going to throw it right back at you, Wooldog.
okay.
If Justin Herbert had to play another position, it would be...
If you had to play another position, it would be... I don't want to see him get hurt, so I'm like trying to think of like the most safest position for him to be. I'm just gonna say kicker. I'm gonna say kicker because we've at least seen him do that. We had that one off season where he had the kicking battle, and he made it, which is a good sign. So I'll say kicker. Kicker for Justin.
Good GMing. Protect Herbert no matter what.
Protect him at all costs, please.
All right, you can throw around wherever you want, Bulldog.
Okay, Alistair. Let's see. If you could only watch one AFC West rivalry game this season, it would be
Chargers Raiders.
Chargers Raiders.
It's just to my core. They're the team I hate the most, so I enjoy.
Home or away?
Away.
Okay.
I like seeing us
You
go
like to
into
see
that
'em
black hole and
smack
make
'em
them
at
suffer
their own
a bit.
home.
Especially now they've got Pete Carroll back and Ashton Genty. Bring it on.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, this is a left field one. Which player do you think you would be most likely to get along with if you were on the Chargers roster?
Rayshawn Slater. Rayshawn Slater, it would be. We both wear glasses. We're both relatively big gentlemen. We both love lifting heavy things. And I reckon Rayshawn Slater's a pretty smart cat too. So I'm going to say that I'm kind of smart. So we might have some good conversations. So there you go.
Can we throw a challenge flag? No, go on.
Yeah, Rayshawn Slater. That's the first thing that came up to mind. All right, Al, I'm going to throw this back at you.
Hit me, brother.
This is not meant to be negative, but if Harbaugh had to replace a coach, it would be.
Oh. It would be Marcus Brady or Mark Trestman, whoever's the pass game coordinator, and to pick try and find a young upcomer, the next kind of hot shot, just to maybe help Greg Roman out with that area. I think Greg Roman's a great run game designer. Maybe the pass game would be somewhere the team could improve. But I had to think about it, which is a good sign, because in the past you'd be like, well, how long do you have?
Right.
All right, Bulldog.
Yes.
Of the Charger chat crew,
Oh shit.
who would be the most likely to get in an argument at a ball game with an opposing team fan?
Oh, that's easy. Kev Huggin-Duggan, the guy. I mean, I'm not gonna cite any precedents, but I'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna say Kev Huggin-Duggan.
So it's not hypothetical, it's real, yeah.
I don't even think there's any question. I think we would all agree on that one.
Okay.
Thank you for making that an easy one. All right, Jack.
Okay.
The biggest challenge the Chargers will face in the playoffs is.
Oh, okay. I will say, and it's the same challenge that we found against the Texans, is if we come up against a big wide receiver one, like a Nico Collins, is that I don't know how we're going to stop him. Just with the cornerback room, the way it looks at the moment. Cam Hart, let's hope that his shoulder stays and his concussions, he stays on the field because he's kind of our alpha dog. But outside of that, I do worry who can stop those big-bodied wide receivers. That's one thing on Minter's defense that I'm a little bit concerned about going forward. And I think we can cover it up, during the season. But when it comes to those big games, I think that might be a bit of a weakness, perhaps. All right, Wolldog. Maybe we do one each, one more each. So I'll do my last one.
Okay.
Defense. Well, let's stay on defense, Wolldog, and go. The biggest surprise on defense this season will be.
I'm gonna say the usage and success of Kyle Kennard. I think he is coming into.
Love it.
I think he is coming into a situation where he has an opportunity, and I think, exactly. I think that with the loss of Joey Bosa, we've got Khalil Mack, we've got Bud Dupree, we've got Tuli Tuipulotu, but I think Kyle Kennard has got a chance to surprise some people, and I think to make a name for himself on this team. So I'm going to go with that.
Excellent answer.
All right. Al, I'm gonna play a little differently here. So
here we go.
I'm gonna do a little would you rather. Is that allowed on this show? Can I do that?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Would you rather have spaghetti for hair or Vegemite for sweat?
Well, look, I'm Italian and I'm bald, so I think the answer speaks for itself. Yeah.
Love it.
Bolognese me up, Bulldog. and if you're asking, what am I going? I might go with. I'll go with linguine hair. I'll take linguine. So nice, like thin angel hair pasta. Just
easy to draw too.
Yeah. I like it. Geez, Vegemite for sweat. Disgraceful. All right. Our last one, Jack, and I'll throw it to you. Agree or disagree? Out of every draft pick, free agency signing, or other move the Chargers made this offseason, retaining Jesse Minter was the biggest win of them all.
Oh, it would have to be the biggest agree in the world. But the other thing is I did not see his name popping up much. So
no requests.
Yeah, so what that strikes to me is that Minter's going, listen, who knows down the road what happens with Harbaugh and when he thinks he might retire. The way he talks, he's going to be coaching and he's going to, sort of finish it on the field, I would say. But yeah, Minter is fascinating. And maybe we're a little bit more in today's league, GMs and owners are a little bit more dubious around hiring defensive coordinators that have one good season and then go on to be head coaches. I wonder where that precedent comes in. Anyway, I'll shimmy over that. So absolutely, I think he's going to do some fairly incredible things this season with the defense. Whilst they might not be as impactful, perhaps as that number one, scoring defense, I think we'll just drop a little bit, but I do think that offense is going to come up and that differentiation between the two is going to be what gets us over the hump. All right, done. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Alistair, I'm going to throw to your favorite segment, the Thunder Down Under Aussie Quiz to finish us off. Wooldog,
All right.
I hope you are ready, sir.
Now, Wooldog, our last guests, Stephen and Tyler from Guilty as Charged. Actually, I think they got 100% right. So I'm not putting a bit of extra pressure on, but we're going to ask you 3 questions here. And if you get all 3 right, you'll unlock a bonus one. But let's see how you go. In 15 seconds, can you name 3 songs by famous Australian rock band AC/DC? Go.
Thunderstruck, Highway to Hell, and TNT.
Done.
Oh, boom. That was not even 3 seconds.
Within 5.
My heart's pumping.
That's possibly the best, the quickest answer we've ever had. Is that worth 2 points, Alistair? I don't know.
See how it goes
right.
on the rest, eh?
Yeah. All right, Wooldog. Here's some Aussie slang for you.
Okay.
If you were visiting Whoop Whoop, where are you? A, in the middle of nowhere or a faraway place. B, a sporting event where you can whoop loudly. Or C, farting so loudly that it clears a room. If you were visiting Whoop Whoop, where are you?
Those are good multiple choice answers. Oh, I'm stressed. I'm so stressed because it's not. Was hoping one to be like very clear. I'm gonna say A.
You are correct, sir. Well done. There you go. Yes. When we say whoop whoop, it generally means that we are in the middle of nowhere. So when we say, he's out in whoop whoop. Yeah.
That's B. That was a good B. Like, let's go whoop it up. Let's go whoop whoop. Come on.
Yeah. And Jack's done C many a time, but the answer was in fact A. All right. Wooldog, you're on the cusp of getting 100% right. So here's your final question. Maybe you get a bonus one. Australia derives its name from the Latin word australis, which means what? 4 answers. Is it A, massive, B, southern, C, barren, or D, elongated? Australia comes from australis, meaning what? Massive, southern, barren, or elongated?
That's hard.
Australis? Is that the word? I'm going to say... What was the first one again?
Massive.
I don't think it's that. I'm going to say... southern.
Oh,
he's gone 3 from 3!
You're 3 from 3! Absolutely smashed it out of the park.
Let's go!
It comes from the Latin terra australis incognita, meaning unknown southern land. That's what they referred to this continent before explorers from the European continent started to arrive. So,
and I
Jack,
think this is the first individual. Because remember, the other guys had 2 of them. This is by far the best performance we've had in the Thunder Down Under quiz ever so far. So well done, Wooldog. But now beckons the bonus question. The bonus question. Alistair, you've got these ready to go. Let's go, buddy.
All right. The bonus question. In Australia's last census survey of the nation in 2021, how many Australians had at least one parent who had been born overseas? 4 answers. Between 15 and 20%, between 25 and 30%, between 35 and 40%, or between 45 and 50%. So at least one parent has to have been born overseas. Those ranges again, 15 to 20, 25 to 30, 35 to 40, or 45 to 50. What say you?
Well, it's been a good run, guys.
God, I don't think I would know the answer to that. Gosh.
Definitely not.
Whew. I'm going to... What was the last one?
45 to 50.
God, that seems too much. I'm going to say the 35 to 40.
Oh, you were so close.
Oh,
Was it the
that's
big
what I
one?
would have said too.
I would have said that too, Bulldog. Unbelievably.
Was it 45 to 50?
48.2% of Australians.
Gosh.
Wow.
And that was in 2021. I dare say now it would even be higher. They're doing another one this year. Yeah, a lot of very multicultural society here. A lot of people have come from parts of whether it's Southeast Asia or Europe, like my descendants, or New Zealand, like Jack's. There you go. We welcome many.
Okay.
So you and the Charger Chat boys should get on over sometime, Bulldog, and we'll take you out for a few beverages.
I would love nothing more than to come to Australia and hang with you guys. That would be the best. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Nope. Well done. 3 from 3 is what you should take away. You can take it back to your show. Let the guys know you guys you brained the Aussie quiz. Well done.
Put that patch on my practice squad.
Yeah, that's right. Put a little Australis sticker on
Yeah, just
there.
a little
Yeah.
one. Not a big one. I didn't get the bonus one.
Awesome job. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of our show. So, Bulldog, did you have anything you wanted to say to the audience about what you guys are going to be doing in the upcoming months, or anything you want to spruik?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This was an absolute blast. I was sweating because I was just like, I don't know, I don't know what all's going to be thrown at me, but you guys made this an absolute joy to be a part of. So thank you first and foremost. If you guys have not heard of, it's the Charger Chat podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Charger Chat Pod. You can find us on Instagram, Charger Chat Podcast. You can also find me on Twitter at the Wooldog, WOOLDOG. And you can also visit our website, chargerchat.com. Check out all the cool stuff we got over there. T-shirts, hoodies, and stickers. Chat it up with other Charger Chatteteers and ask questions and ask Bolt fam. Go check it out, chargerchat.com. And
It's done this before, Jack.
I have. And as far as upcoming stuff, we always do fantasy football with our Patreon. So if you guys are interested in joining, we always have prizes every year. And, the first year we did it, we had one league. So many people wanted to do it. We had a second league. And we'll see what this next year brings. But if you guys are interested, patreon.com/chargerchat. And we definitely are coming to the home opener, the Denver Charger game. We have plans. We've booked flights. We've got our Airbnb. We're good to go. The plan is to go to the Tennessee game. That's the one of 2 away games that we're planning to go to. And we always, because Kevin and I live in Missouri, we always go to the Kansas City game as well. And since the Chargers home game is in Brazil, we'll take the Kansas City Chief game here in Missouri as well. So those are the 3 that we're definitely going to this season.
Fantastic. Well, and obviously, thanks right back to you as well. Whenever we do these shows with guests and people who are so warm and such as you, it sort of gives us fans in Australia and the Australian fans that listen to our show a really good insight, and just it really builds that Chargers community. The one thing that we've always said for our show, and I know that you said it at the start, is that positivity and constructiveness as much as we can, as well as being real. But today has just been so much fun, and it is really an honor to have you on, and for you to chat with us so openly and so calmly and kindly. It's been great. So thank you so much.
The honor is all mine, guys.
Yeah.
Check out Charger Chat.
Yeah, check out Charger Chat. We're sort of still in our winter, so we're sort of doing bits and pieces here in terms of TDU, guys. Keep an eye on our Twitter, and that's about it. I was going to say thank you so much, and see you next time on the Thunder Down Under. Check out Charger Chat. See you guys.
Bye.
Backpedals looking, firing. He's got Floyd turning. Got it! 6 and 10, 5, high step, touchdown! San Diego!
Woo! Good night! Good night to all!